Joining us from McLean, Virginia, please welcome the McLean High School Marching Band. Show features Harvest, the Death, Mourning, and Resurrection of Dionysus by John Mackey. Bands of America is proud to present, in preliminary performance, drum majors Annie Lord and Allie Arnold and the McLean Highlander Marching Band.
Your weight is where? Weight forward, make sure you're not on the back of your heels. Now you guys figure out why you're weighting too forward for the back and try to take that first step. Okay, just one step.
It was clear.
On one.
The weather was clear, but it was hot. I think it was hotter than the next couple days that were to come from it, which was a bit of a shock to the rookies, I know, because we had more people faint on the first day this year than we ever had before. Usually we have one or two, but we had like 7 or 8 people go down on that first day, just because the rookies come to camp and they haven't been doing anything nearly as physical all summer. They didn't drink enough water. They didn't eat food like they were accustomed to as they got later on into the camp. They learned real quick that day that was a problem. I remember the weather just being very hot. It's also a hard day because that rookie day is also the only day that we're outside the entire day, from 8 to 4, doing marching the entire time. Usually we're inside in the afternoon, but we're out there in the heat of the afternoon that day. No, I think this freshman class was really, really easy to work with. The challenge that we had this year was not the students themselves, it was the number of students that we had that was a rookie class. We had somewhere between 1/3 and 1/2 of the band had never marched before. And so, I want to say we had like 56 rookies or something like that. And out of 150 people in the marching band, that's ridiculous to think of. So that was a little scary going into it. And that, that was challenging.
We're going to go set by set and just review. So first set is how many counts? Okay, go. Set.
Waiting.
Thank you, Clarinet. Yes. Do we have a hole? Jessica, do we have a hole to your right?
Next move is how many counts? Go.
We didn't have any real disaster cases where people just can't physically march in time, or can't physically do the motions that we're asking them to do. It was more of a they were all kind of at the same level. There were no great stars. There was nobody that was awful. It was all kind of middle of the road, which is a good place to be. I mean, I'll take that any day over having 4 or 5 people that physically just can't march. So. It was Swartz. Jim Swartz found Harvest, our drumline director, and Jim plays in the Navy band as his professional job, and Jim went to Juilliard with John Mackey, and the Navy band decided that when they were going to go on tour last spring in March, the conductor picked to premiere this brand new piece by John Mackey called Drum Music. It was this percussion concerto that he had just finished writing. It hadn't been published, hadn't been played by anybody. And so the Navy Band got permission from John Mackey to take the piece on tour, and Swartz was the soloist for it. And when he started studying the piece, because he got it earlier from John Mackey, obviously, because he had to start preparing it a long time before he played it. He started delving into a couple other things that Mackey had written, and one of them was this brand new trombone concerto that he had written just before the percussion concerto. So Swartz actually found it and brought it to me, and I thought it was a good idea, and I sent it to the rest of the design staff, and everybody signed off on it. So yeah, he was the one. You know, I always want to end the season with a positive note so that the students feel like that they've accomplished something for all their hard work.
1, 2, 3, group
I feel like regardless of what happens at night when you play again, you have accomplished what you wanted to over the course of the season. So that, you know, I guess throughout the day, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. You never quite know how it's going to go down. You know, McLean hasn't always made the finals. We've been lucky recently that we have, but not always. And you never quite know how the run's going to go, how the other bands are going to play, and I guess that's all the stuff that was going through my head, just hoping.
Okay. Were you sad that the year had come to an end?
Yes and no. You know, you get to that point in the year. I think that everybody gets to that point in the year when they're looking forward to moving on to something else and not having the amount of time and pressure that marching band demands. There was definitely an element that I felt about that. I mean, I get to the point of the year where I'm just ready for it to be over. I want to get through the last competition. I want it to be successful, and I want to move on to something else.
Right.
And that's kind of where I was at. That being said, there is some bittersweet moment when you're at the last competition and you're going into finals and you realize that this is the last time this band's going to do this. That's definitely a very happy feeling. It's definitely a very fulfilling feeling that I left with. So, you know, there's happiness in the season ending, and there's a little bit of sadness too, I guess. But most of all, happiness for what the students have accomplished, and happiness to move on to something else in life.